Well, hey everybody. It's been a really long time since I've made a video about the Loadstar here. As happens most summers, summer got the better of me. I've got too many hobbies and too many projects and a whole lot going on. So lots of stuff happened this summer. Got a new fifth wheel and did a whole bunch of camping and took up hunting, and so took a couple trips up to the UP, and really didn't have a whole lot of time to work on the Loadstar, but I did put in some time here and there. Probably had a total of 3 or 4 days, of course, over the course of the summer, and then just now today I spent about 7-8 hours. So just want to do a quick little recap video of where everything stands, and where we're moving towards. So without further ado, without looking back at the most recent video that I posted way back in April or whatever it was, we do have a few things done. We've got some mud flaps, some nice hangers. I think the underbody box was on. I don't remember if the fuel tank was on or not, but it is now too. Not that it's hooked up or wired up, but other than that, in terms of the chassis, not a ton of changes. I did just today actually finish building this lid for my battery box, and then had previously done the step. I think that was done when I painted everything, and I don't remember if air tanks or what were on, but they are. We did do the exhaust. That was a day's worth of work. Hopefully this doesn't leak. I don't know if I ever showed it on an original video, but the exhaust manifold, when I got the truck, was cracked, and you can see where I've got this little contraption here that's got some pressure with washers on that one. Had to play with drilling and tapping and getting a series of different size bolts or studs, whatever the case may be, based on what we had here, because what had happened was the old downpipe was trashed. It was cracked, rotted, rusted, nothing left of it. So what I did was I got a piece of 3/8 steel, cut to size, drilled the flange, and then I literally just bought a series of exhaust pipe. Mostly 4-inch, but actually this is where it goes to this, the wide exhaust port on the manifold. This is a couple pieces of 2.5-inch, I think, or maybe it's 3-inch, I don't remember. Whatever I sized to make work, and don't laugh at my welds. I know they're not the best, but they hold and they're sealed. So, and welded the downpipe together that jogs around the air intake, and will clear the cab on the Loadstar, and then comes down, and we've got ourselves a joint to go to some flex, nice stainless flex. Follow that back through to, I just reused the original muffler off the Fleet Star, because for now that's just gonna do. And we did do something fancy, and I got a nice period correct and Detroit diesel correct 4-inch ankle cut stack. Yeah, I know a 6-inch would look cooler, but 4 inches is what a Detroit diesel wants. It's what a 2-stroke wants. Doesn't need a lack of back pressure. It actually wants a little bit of back pressure, and it just looks right for 1967. So other than that, I don't know if I had the marker lights in, but I got my marker lights and most of those in. We'll go around here, and there's a little side view of the mud flap setup. Got anti-sail brackets front and rear, and yeah, that's about it. I haven't yet had my my rear marker panel drilled yet, so I'll get to that eventually and bolt that in. But otherwise, that's really where the chassis sits. So then the rest of the work I've been doing is on the cab. Today did a whole bunch of metal work. The roof is welded on. Did a whole bunch of patchwork, on the cowl where there had been a ton of rot. Both both sides were rotted out, so that's done. Still have body work to do, obviously. You know, we had another patch there. At some point, the Loadstar, I think, had a tree or a pole or something fall on it, hence why we had to do the roof swap, because it was crushed, you know, all in this area here. It also came down, whatever it hit, the truck also came down and hit the mirror. And what happened was, you can see some deflection in the top of the door right there. Honestly, for this project, that's really just probably going to get covered with the mirror bracket again. But down here, it actually cracked the door skin down to about there. And then over here, by the corner window, it had separated from the inner frame of the door. And so this whole door skin was flopping out. So that is all welded back. It's definitely needs some body work. I don't know how far we're going to go with that, because again, a lot of it's going to be covered by the mirror bracket, but we'll see what we get into. Unfortunately, the driver's door, a good chunk of the bottom of it was rotted, so that got patched. And then back here, lower left rear cab had some damage there too, so that's all patched up. Also found what I didn't know about, which was some really bad previous body work to the red Fleet Star cab, or to the roof in particular. I'm guessing it was, you know, strobe lights, who knows, antennas, you name it, but they just filled the holes with Bondo, which obviously wasn't working out. So got those all welded back in, and then found a hole, which it did warp my roof, unfortunately, when I welded it in, but had to do a patch up here too, where some other light or something was there. So, but we're down to just having the holes that I want for the air horns and the original International markers. And I started doing a little bit of sanding work with the DA to prep for body work, because that's about the point that we're at right now. I mean, the cab in general is just about ready to, I mean, I got to finish taking some lettering off. And obviously sand some more, but really this is ready for body work at this point, so that's exciting. On the interior side of things, I did a fair amount of work. Ignore the Pergo wood floors. I love the way it looks. I just don't have a good way to trim it out, and it's not going to work, so that's coming out. But you know, I've got the seat just back in here kind of temporarily to test fit things, but the entire interior is in. Other than I don't have the doghouse in here right now, but painted the dash. You know, all the panels are in, gauges all installed, switches. Actually ran battery powered everything to get all my interior light bulbs replaced and working, and verify switch operation. Temporarily, at least, have the door panels on. They're gonna have to come back off, but literally painted the entire interior of the cab, and including door jams. Just used single stage on the jams and the doors, on the entire interior for that matter. The exterior of the cab will probably end up in base clear, you know, obviously with some epoxy primer below that, but and I'm debating on whether it's going to be black to match the company truck, or if I want to do maybe I'm almost thinking about maybe a real deep charcoal gray. Haven't decided yet, but one way or the other, that's kind of where we stand. Started monkeying with heater boxes too, got that stuff all painted up. Still have to get it installed, and I think the other item, I do have a tiny bit of trimming on the doghouse, because I found out that I need to do a trim on just the lower part of that's the lower dash right there, and I am going to have to trim out just a tiny bit to get the doghouse to be able to install, about a 1/2 inch. But otherwise, I don't remember if the firewall was on in the last video. I think it was, but if not, it sure as heck is now. So the firewall transplant is complete. I mean, literally, other than body work, this thing is ready to get some paint and finally get installed back on the chassis. I'm going to do just the cab first, get that on. That way that opens up a whole lot of other things for me to work on. I can start running all my wiring, I can start running air lines, I can start running, you know, everything. Everything that needs to be routed around the cab, through the cab, and involves the cab starts to be able to happen. Then it also clears up some space in my barn that isn't as big as I'd love it to be, and lets me bring the fenders and the whole hood assembly in and start body working those. And I'll just paint those in a separate shot, and still shooting to have this thing largely together and running by the end of this winter, which gives me next summer to do the last few tweaks, you know, maybe the wood bed and sideboards and things like that, and hopefully have it ready to go to some truck shows by late next summer. Hopefully actually going to be putting a deposit on the gooseneck that I need to pull this thing around to wherever we end up taking it. Hopefully going to do that this week, yeah, we'll be in business. So hopefully I start to post some more updates a little more often. Probably take a little break here for the holidays. I'm going to be out of town for a while, but get back in the swing of working on this thing and showing you guys what I come up with. So thanks for the few of you who are into old trucks and International Harvesters and Detroit Diesels and this kind of stuff. I certainly like it, and I'm glad there's at least a few people out there who do too. So until next time, we'll see you.